All right, everyone. Welcome to Chart Attack. This is Vishal from Equity Guru, and today we're going to be talking about the plant-based sector. As you guys can see, I have a few charts here that we were going to run through, and don't mind all this red, folks. I mean, it's one of those days where it's a really big week for the equity markets in general. We of course have the Federal Reserve on tap on the 15th of December, but there's like five central bank interest rate decision. So it's going to be quite a volatile market. So, do keep that in mind and look to the future for plant based, obviously. The plant based sector, I think it's going to be a hot trend going forward, uh, just because a lot of people are looking at diets to help solve the climate crisis. Tons of documentaries nowadays on why rearing cattle and stuff is bad for the environment. And essentially, as the population grows, and specifically, a lot of people talk about the middle class in Asia as as that middle class increases, they're going to want protein, usually in the form of animal. You know, people now Bill Gates talking about synthetic meat. A lot of people are looking at things such as Beyond Meat, right? So we have a chart here of Beyond Meat. This is what I think sort of started the whole plant-based sort of mania. Stock IPO'd in May of 2019, had a very good few weeks, opening at around $50, popping at $240 basically in about 2 months. And then since then, we basically gave it all back. We popped up a little bit more. And currently, we're now trading at under 70 to $70, but we are pretty close to a major support zone here. So there's been a big fall there in Beyond Meat. A lot of people this year are talking about Oatly, oat milk and that kind of stuff. If you guys follow my agriculture sector roundup, actually, I spoke about this company because, believe it or not, their biggest component in VanEck's new Future of Food ETF. So if you're interested in plant-based, take a look at that ETF because VanEck is basically looking at the same thing, looking at like human population increasing, looking at the Asian middle class increasing, and saying, hey, look, we're going to have to find ways to make sustainable food, and they're, I guess, going the plant-based way. But Oatly, take a look at that. IPO this year, 20 on in May of 2021, had a nice pop up to close to $30, but we're back under $10 here, and perhaps a bit of a range here. Maybe we are going to bottom, but the way I would play this is very simple, folks. Just wait for that cross back above our moving average and wait for a break above the $10 zone, which I think is an important psychological zone. Mind that gap there as well. But as I said, this stock is the largest component of VanEck's new Future of Food ETF. So that's sort of a good sign, I think. But I think it's more to do with how cheap the stock is priced compared to everything else in that portfolio and that ETF. So keep an eye on that. The four companies we're going to talk about today have it's a variety of companies, right? They're all in the plant-based sector here. We have Organic Garage that basically deals with natural products and organic products, all about conscious living, healthy living. Where I live, there's tons of stores like these, so I'm used to this kind of stuff. They might be a bit more expensive, but people still do shop there because I think consumer trends are shifting and people will spend extra money on organic food and healthy supplements. So they're located in Toronto. They have 5 locations there. They're also expanding, and they also they bought out the Future of Cheese, and they're selling basically this plant-based cheese, which is doing quite well. But we'll take a look at their charts in just a minute. Freshii, we'll take a look at, and Freshii, I think a lot of you guys know about them. A chain of restaurants, quick food restaurants where you can eat healthy food. We're going to look at Nabati, which is all plant-based food, and take a look at some of the products that they sell. I think this is interesting, the plant eggs, because one of the things about vegan and being vegetarian is the protein amounts you don't get, and I think eggs, something like that, definitely adds to the protein count there. The issue with a company like this, in my opinion, is the competition. Now, I think there's a lot of competition in that plant-based sector. So we'll talk about their chart and what I would be watching for in the future. And then finally, a completely different one, but this is now plant-based, compostable coffee pods, Nexe pod, and this stock was a big mover just recently. When we look at the charts, you'll see why. But I think this is an interesting one. This is a unique niche that this company has. Coffee pods are everywhere. You go to your work office, your car dealership, people are using coffee pods, and not many people talk about where those coffee pods end up. And I think something like Nexe pod here, their coffee pod innovation, as I said, is very unique and has a place in the market here. So we're going to take a look at the charts of those four companies there. Organic Garage, we talked about this actually in one of our Equity Guru market moments about that breakout here in October, above 40 cents. The move, took off. We hit 70 cents. Unfortunately, on the retest of 55, what was once resistance now became support. That retest failed. And from there, we bounced back to 40 cents. And we're in a range now, folks. We're in a range between 40 cents to 55 cents. Technically speaking, as long as we're above 40 cents, the uptrend is actually still intact. So the way I would play this right now is you wait between 55 cents and 40 cents. Wait for that breakout and close in either direction. Obviously, we're looking at higher, right? That's what we favor. And that would be your trigger. Again, the issues I have with Organic Garage is there's tons of stores like this now. And, with the trend in conscious living or healthy living, conscious living, all that kind of stuff, Walmart, Superstore, those big supermarkets, they're going to be introducing their own natural and organic sections. And in fact, most of them already are. I know Superstore has like 2 aisles now of supplements and fresh organic food and all that kind of stuff. So, is that going to be the competition that a company like OG is going to be facing? We'll have to wait and see. Nabati Foods, we talked about with their products here. The stock IPO'd quite nicely, and just since then we took out 75 cents, which was the IPO lows, and we've made new record lows. Actually, today on the day we're recording, we made new record lows at 47.5 cents here. You can see here I've drawn out our range. I'm not saying this is the bottom just yet, because of course, to call a bottom, we need that breakout, I would say, above 56.5 cents here. But the stock, after making new lows here, we've just been holding up for about 7 trading days here. The big zone, though, the big key zone for anyone interested in the stock is, of course, that 75-cent zone. We have to have a close back above that, I think, for any sustained move higher. But I think a lot of people are probably looking at Nabati at this price right now. In terms of earnings, the earnings did come out, but what I would say is I would wait for a few more earning releases to come out, because we can't just look at one earnings and make our decision based on that. So maybe a bit more consistency. We'll wait and see if more earnings come out and how the numbers look so far. But as I said, my issue is there's a lot of companies and competition now in that space. Is this the one that you want to be buying? The chart here is not really supportive of that just yet. But again, the technical level is 56.5, and then you need to climb back above 75 cents. We'll run through Freshii here. This used to be a stock that traded at $15. A lot of people, eat there. I just think right now that was the time. Back in the day was the time they had to, they had the advantage with the whole healthy meal stuff. But nowadays, folks, you go to any restaurant, you go to your Cactus Club or your Boston Pizza or even your Pizza, everyone has healthy options, vegan options, plant-based options now. So I think, this is a stock that you probably don't want to buy, but it's maybe one where, you can go to the restaurant to eat, but it's not really one that you might want to buy. And, they've not been making the revenues that people expected them to do. This breakout we saw actually here on November 8th came because of a pretty decent earnings report, but you can just see we just gave all that back. And really, the stock's been doing nothing since all of this year, most of this year. We've just been ranging between $1.90 and I would say 220 up here. And that's pretty much it, folks. We are at a support zone. So if you do want to play that range, go for it. But it's not something I would really do. But big fall from $15 all the way here to $2, and obviously that's telling you something about that company. And then finally, let's take a look here at Nexe Innovations. Once again with the coffee pods, we had a really interesting day here on the 1st of November. Big pop. Actually, that was a 95% move from the bottom here at 60 cents up to the highs. Yeah, 98% there move. And it was because the pods were now basically out online. They were ready to be shipped out. But as you guys can see, after 3 days of 98% gains, we just gave it all back up. Not really what you want to see when you have strong green candles like this. So the momentum obviously didn't carry, and it does look like with today's close here on the 13th of December, closing below these candle lows, we are going to pull back here to the 60-cent zone, and then from there, I think that's where we'll watch to see if we can make a double bottom. If we do, then we'll have something to work with. We can maybe play a range here and wait for that breakout above $1.10. But if it closes below 60 cents, folks, then we're looking at new record lows and maybe some support at 50 cents, and this whole setup is nullified, and we'll have to wait a few more days. So not the best setups here, not the best setups for all these charts, but I think a lot of it has to do with basically the overall market condition here. And if you did pay attention, or if you have watched our investor roundtable, we did talk about how it's very early stage and a lot of these companies aren't really making money or revenue, and that's going to be a key thing going forward. But I do think this sector is going to be really interesting, obviously, with governments and with the whole climate crisis issue going on. And I think there is a shift of consumer trends to eat healthy and eat plant-based food. And I think I haven't mentioned this, but plant-based food actually does taste good nowadays, which I think is a very important part, because a lot of people didn't like the taste before. But now I know friends who aren't vegan or vegetarian, but they'll still order something plant-based at the restaurant because it tastes good and they feel they're doing something good for the environment. So keep an eye out on this space, folks. That's it. That's going to be it for me today. If you did enjoy this video, do give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe us in all our social media links provided in the description box below. And more importantly, folks, what's your take on plant-based? Are you a buyer of any of these companies? Do you like the plant-based sector as a whole? Or are you just waiting in the sideline because you think a lot of these guys are going to go out of business first, and then you'll look at the winners? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video.